Monday morning, and is going to be which is good music, hoping to get out of that, perhaps for a bit of a wintry walk. As for the jet stream, it's plunging way south at the moment, which is why we're seeing the plunge of cold air over the UK. On the icy side, which is why and over that to tomorrow. So tomorrow itself, it will be a bit of a messy start to the day. Showers, outbreaks of rain. Again, it could be a touch of things do start.
Good evening and welcome to the first series of interviews AMCA related. Tonight we start with a former AMCA triple MX2 champion. So we'll welcome
Michael, how are we doing? Very well, mate. How are you?
Hello, Brad.
You okay?
Yeah. Thanks for doing this. Much appreciated.
Yeah, no problem.
How's life been treating you in what's been a awfully difficult year for everyone?
Yeah, it's been pretty tricky for everyone, I suppose. But luckily, kept busy with work. Kids have been keeping me busy, obviously, and also been able to get out on the bikes now and then to have a bit of fun. So yeah, all good, thank you.
Okay, that's good to hear. Right, so what we want to do is go basically right back to the very beginning. How did your interest in motorcycles, motocross develop? Where did that come from?
It was a young age, so I'd have been, say, 4 or 5, and Dad used to have a bike out on the farm quite often, and the interest and the love just sort of started there, really. And then we obviously went down the normal route that most people do. You start racing at 6 and a couple of autos for a couple of years, and then move on and move on and move on. So yeah.
Okay, so how did those early years go then? You know, did you feel sort of comfortable straight away, or did it take a few years to get into the middle?
I had a few trips into the fence and into the gate posts and whiskey throttles here and there. But I don't know, what I can remember, I think I was pretty steady, to be honest. I was never really breaking any records early on. Just sort of taking it easy, really. Finding my feet.
Okay. So can you remember when you first sort of started winning races? How soon into your career did you win races?
Oh, no, that was a while, that was, to be honest. I was winning club level races relatively early on, say on 60s, 80s, 100s obviously, and into 125s, but going on a higher level like nationals and things like that, I was never really winning races at schoolboy nationals. I was always just sort of top 10 contender. I was never winning big races early on. I think there comes a point where you have to, when Dad stops pushing you and Dad stops taking you, you need to start finding your own feet and pushing on for yourself, really.
Okay, so was your dad involved in racing motocross at all, or just was he generally interested in bikes?
Yeah, so Dad obviously had a big interest in bikes because his dad had bikes on the road. my dad had a big love for speedway like yourself, but he was never really on a competitive level anywhere. But he did have a passion for bikes and always had one with me, practicing in the field and when he can. So yeah.
Okay. Did he like push you like in your early years, or did he let you develop at your own sort of speed and rate, or was he there like kicking your ass and saying, "Come on"?
I think he matched my enthusiasm for sure. Probably more so at times when I wasn't performing as well as I probably had the potential to. So yeah, I had a few ass kickings, if I'm honest. I think we all have that. So,
Okay. What class then did you get to before you went into the nationals, or was that straight away? You know, like 60s.
Yeah, so you do your. I think back then it was you had your BSMA nationals that we done after club level, on your 60s, 80s through to your 125s. I think I did one season. I was 125 in the nationals, in the BSMA nationals, and then you had the route of ACU British Championship or AMCA Championship. I knew deep down that I wasn't fast enough for ACU British Championship, so we went the AMCA route, and it went from there really.
Okay, so did you come into the AMCA then at was it 16 or 18 or when?
Yeah, no, I think I'd have left school when I was at college, so I'd have been 17. Yeah, I was 17 on Kawasaki. I was on a Honda. I remember one of the first meetings I did was they used to run the Supercross at the end of the season.
Yeah.
It would have been there down at Longbuckby, Northampton, just in one of the expert support races. Did one of those. Turned a few heads, enjoyed that, and then went full on the next year. I can't even think what year that would have been, 99, 2000 maybe. So, yeah, that's when it all started, AMCA for me.
Okay, so going back to that time then, did you have to come through the inter-junior route up into juniors and seniors, or just straight juniors?
No, to be honest, the first couple of meetings, I knew officials and things, and they'd know my background from riding, so I didn't have to come through the ranks as such. I was straight into 125 experts as it would have been back then. And yeah, started making enemies since then.
How did you find that then, the transition from youth into MCA adults?
That was quite a steep learning curve, to be honest. You go from riding against 14, 15-year-olds to racing full-grown men who don't like getting beat. So you kind of have to grow up and toughen up pretty fast. And you just got to learn to look after yourself as quick as you can. So I think I did quite well.
I guess going back into that time as well, you had to qualify for the championship through the early season or end of season qualifiers. Can you remember? Can you remember much about the meeting when you qualified and became a fully fledged championship rider?
First year. So first year I had to qualify was pretty hectic because you in your head you kind of think, oh yeah, I'm gonna qualify here and fast enough, blah blah blah. But then you get down to race day and there's 36 other guys that thinking the same, and it's pretty severe. I think I managed to like a 4th or 5th on the day, so I managed to qualify. I think it was like Wally Nab or somewhere like that. I can't think where it was. It wasn't very glamorous. It was pretty shitty of a day, and you just sort of get stuck in. But you're more relieved than anything then, because you're seeded through to the championship, and away you go. And then back then you obviously have to finish in the top 15 to qualify again for the following year.
Yeah.
So no, good crack. Yeah.
Did your mindset change then when from qualifying for the championship? Did you sort of think, okay, I've got to sort of step everything up a level, or did you always think, oh, I say, okay, I'm going to be going in there and I can still do the job that I've done before? You know, did your preparation and mind?
No, I was still quite young and I wouldn't say immature. Inexperienced is probably a better word. Still relatively inexperienced, so it was kind of just a learning curve for that first year. See how the championships run, see how it goes. You know, ride the tracks, and just sort of survive. And then I never really considered myself as any sort of title contender for 2 or 3 years. It was more of a learn your craft in the AMCA. Tracks back then, more so than they are now, were as you will have known, they were more club tracks. But you had big burly airy ass men to race around. So.
Okay, so going into that first championship race then, you know, of your new career in effect, was you suffering from nerves, or did you feel?
Yeah. Well, I've always suffered with nerves, even now. So yeah, I'd have been throwing up, or you know, I wouldn't have been feeling too good. And it actually wasn't far from mum and dad's. It was up at Bevercoats, Nottingham way. I remember. I think I managed to score a couple of points first round and went off track a bit. And yeah, it wasn't it wasn't a fairy tale start to the season, but it was a start as such. So.
Okay. Did the pace then surprise you, like in the championship? Was what you expected, or was it like, oh Christ, this is like going up a few notches?
I wouldn't have even seen the top guys, if I'm honest. It would have been Gary Davis, Defoe, and that lot. They'd have been up the front. When Anthony Carl, it was that sort of era, to be honest. I didn't even see which way they went, to be honest. So.
Okay, so like after that first there, like how did it develop from there to becoming like an inbreeder? How quickly did it develop to you being on the pace, like it with the front?
So that year was very. It was a steep learning curve that first year, and you kind of had to man up and embrace the task, and you either commit and sacrifice things to succeed, or you just accept you go there for a ride round. So put the work in and decided that that's what you want to do, and that's what I did, to be honest. You just get stuck in and train and just do more than anybody else. You just crack on. So.
I noticed, like, obviously quite quickly you had people like beginning to offer support in various ways to you. So obviously you were doing the right things. To quickly get like people recognizing you and getting support.
Yeah, obviously I'm a bit of a hard rider on track, but it's always nice to be professional off track and treat people with respect off track, and sponsors and friends and that off track. But when you get your lid on, it's time to ride, and you're not there to make friends. Obviously, you're there to do a job and try and win some races. So.
I mean, you had obviously a reputation. You developed a reputation as being is it fair to say, like an hard, uncompromising rider who had a big desire to win? Do you think, did that work in your favour, or did that work against you at times? How did you sort of view that?
Oh yeah, without doubt, I've knowingly upset a few people, but there are times in your career, or whatever you want to call it, where your talent runs out there, but your passion sort of takes you to here, and your commitment to do what it takes to win on the day, or not necessarily win, but just gain those few extra points that you need to win a championship, or stop somebody else winning the championship, or you got to do what it takes. But it had its pros and cons really. Obviously, you sort of ride around with the target on your back, but no regrets. All good, all happy. So.
Okay, so at what point then did you feel you become from a sort of a mid-pack, maybe let's say championship rider, into a serious contender, in a way to to make you become a contender rather than a mid-pack?
Yes, well, I shifted from the Kawasaki's I was on for a couple of years, and then I started riding for Richard Main. It was obviously won the IMBA in '85, so we had the experience and a bit more influence over me. Just opened my eyes to a few things, and I owe a lot to Richard, if I'm honest. I went from 15th at the end of 1 year, and then I had a brace of thirds, the following 3 years, and then a couple of seconds a few years after that, and then if you can bang podiums in, week out, you're not far away. But I wasn't mature enough to do that. I was still doing, third, first, 20th, or whatever how it goes. It took a while.
Okay, obviously, 2005 was the first title win. That must have felt pretty special, to win that title. Because I've looked at the riders that you were coming up against, and there were some big names out there at that time.
Yeah, there was still quite a few big names from the previous sort of era as such. They gave me a bit of bullying from when I first entered, so they can't moan about it now, because they used to give it as much as they used to take it. It felt good. So that would have been the last year on the. Was I even 125 still? I can't remember. I think I would.
Yeah, that's 125 then. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still on a.
No, it was 250. Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When you won the title.
Yeah. It was an interesting year. I can remember that. Yeah. Very interesting. There was lots of bar banging and lots of dummies being thrown, but you've got to do what you've got to do.
Yeah, they always say in sport that when you win a title, the hardest thing is to defend it. Did you feel the pressure building in the film?
Yeah, because the year I had to retain it was when Factory Phil Mercer was in there as well. I think. Yeah, and that was the year I switched to KTM that year as well. It was tricky because you said that number one plate is like a big target on your back. But I kind of thrived on that a bit, if I'm honest. You step up and you've got it in the tank, and if someone beats you, then fair play, that they're better than you on the day. You do what it takes to not let that happen. So no, he's good.
Yeah, I was looking like some of the names in 2007 who you beat when you claim your third title. You've got like Phil Mercer, Lee Payne, the late Matt Porter, James Lane, Mark Hooley, Owen Delaney, Lee Dunham, Jamie Dobson, Scott Matthew. That was the top 10. That's that's quality top 10, isn't it?
Yeah. We all tried our best, and to be honest, the third year wasn't that amazing for me, if I'm honest. It was still great to win it, but I didn't get as much as a buzz as I did the first two. Maybe I don't know what the points difference was at the end of the year, Mike. Can you know? Is it?
I think it was about 20 something or other. It was quite close. When you beat, yeah.
I think it did go down to like Nimsfield last round, and I think I had a seizure in practice or I had to drop a new bike out and race the new bike. Yeah, so I've got a couple of photos from that race, but yeah, nothing stands out massive from that year, if I'm honest. I think I was ready to move then, to be honest. I was ready to take on a new challenge of a bigger bike and different lads are racing against.
Yeah. Okay, what about the teams then that you've, or like the teams you've been involved in the championship days? You know, sort of tell us a little bit about those. I think the first one was it a Richard Main team? The first team you were involved in.
So Cliff Pierce picked me up from that Superclass round, and Tony Darby from Cradley Kawasaki, and you know they threw a lot of help at me the first few years with the Kawasaki's. Then it would have been Richard Main on the Hondas. You know, and even back then, relationships start with people like Rock Oil, Michelin. You know, your relationships start back then with quality sponsors, and they're still with me today. Moving from that, I sort of built a package that I could take to any brand really. You build your small sponsors, and then you can move them to any manufacturer that you feel fit or think that might produce a better bike or such or something like that. And then I can't think what year I first got involved with Michael at the FUS. Because we grew that really from nothing to what it is today. So yeah, Michael would have been the last one I was involved with, and still am today, to be honest. Do a bit in the background, and Michael was kind enough to lend me a 350 last year Husky that I had the use of, and maybe into next year, depending what goes on yet. But I'm not really sure what to do. But yeah, it's been,
okay.
It's been good.
In your time racing, then, is there sort of one bike that sort of stands out, which you think, oh, I really enjoyed that bike, riding that bike, or not? Is there one bike for you that you think, I really love that bike?
It's not even going to be one of my championship bikes. It's going to be, I'm trying to think what year, maybe a 2012 450 Honda. We had them as practice bikes when we raced Supermoto. And we had them on the motocross spec, and yeah, it's just a bike you could do anything on. That really enjoyable to ride. Yeah, no, really nice bike. So that would be the one bike. I think when you're under pressure in a racing situation, you're always searching for perfect settings, and you're always searching for perfect tyre, perfect this, perfect that, and you kind of get lost up in that. You're always forever searching for the perfect setting that never exists. I think it's down to how you feel on the day most of the time. If you're feeling top notch, top of your game, I think you could probably ride a donkey around and still win. So.
Okay, right. So, like in 2008, you moved into the MX1 class.
Yeah.
So you obviously went from 50F up to the 450F. Did you find that quite a straightforward adaptation, or did it take a little bit of getting used to?
Yeah, the 450 KTM is an absolute beast, and still is now. And you have to be pretty strong, pretty agile to get the best out of them. And I really enjoy riding them. Treat them with respect. Yeah, I had some good years on the KTM 450. It would have been quite a few years now. So I did enjoy the challenge and the step up, to be honest, and riding against the different lads and upsetting a few different people for a change.
First year in the MX1, you finished runner-up, so that must have given you a lot of pleasure, really.
Yeah, no, I was lucky. No, I got gifted that, to be honest, because I think last round was at Woodford in Northampton. Campbell was winning. I think the chef Ben cooked another clutch or something. He should have been second or third, and I should have been way down. I think Charlie always had a bad round as well. So I think I went from fourth to second in that last round. So I was gifted it, to be honest, and I think that was down to mechanicals, not down to me. So I've got to be honest there. But I'll still take it. I'll still take it, and you've got to be it to win it, I suppose. So.
Well, that's how in motocross, everybody has their highs, everybody has their lows. You have to, as you said, you have to take it as it comes, really. And
yeah, definitely.
It can't be good all the time, can it? So.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, so I think it was 3 seasons in MX1, and then you got injured. Can you remember that? Was that your first bad injury in the sport?
Obviously done normal things like your arms and your legs and your collarbones and stuff like that, but yeah, ruptured ACL, MCL, like you like loads of people do, you blow your knee to bits, and that was really like the start of the downward spiral for my passion for it as well. Because at that point you start riding at 5 or 6 and you don't have a year off, and your body and your mind, if I'm honest, you just sort of have enough. And you know, the minute you ask yourself, what am I doing, or do I still enjoy it, then you know it's over. So yeah, unfortunately that was the start of it, and I recovered from it, and I can't think then, is that when I stopped and did a bit of supermoto? I can't remember.
2011 was when you had the injury.
Yeah, that's about right, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, started the supermoto, went to America training, come off over a triple and bust my hand into a million bits. So yeah, one injury followed another injury into a different sport, but we soon got over that and tried to get used to the tarmac for a few years.
Okay, going back a little bit now, back to your IMBA days. Obviously, I know how proud you were to represent AMCA Team Great Britain. You know, you wore that shirt with pride. 2002, I think, was your debut season. You know, when you rolled up for the first time at a European venue, European Championship, how did you feel then? You know, was it what you expected it to be, or was it not what you expected it?
No. Back then it was still as big as it always was. It was huge. You know, there was double lineups, marquees and beer tents as big as you can imagine. Spectators, trackside. You know, it was incredible, and you did feel proud to put that shirt on and do your best. And I did that for God knows 10 years or so. You know, never really mess around, or you know, the long drives home and the silent drive home at times between me and my dad, because you know I couldn't do it without him at all. You know, yeah, when I'd run out of money, he'd help me top up, and you know, you run out of money for diesel home, and you just, I wouldn't be where I am today without my dad for sure, and especially through the English, because they were expensive.
Yeah, I mean, people who've never been involved in the IMBAs don't really realise, you know, the commitment that's required. You know, especially when you've got to try and race back to England and be at work on a Monday morning. They just don't seem to get that, do they?
Well, no, you know, especially because what's the last race, 5:30 or something. So if you finish racing in Czech Republic 5:30, and you're lucky enough to get on the podium or get a bit of prize money or whatever, and then you know, just break every speed limit possible to get home, and then it is tough. And then once you get back into this country, you've got a 4 or 5 hour journey home. Yeah, it's but it's all part of it, Mike. No one forced me to do it. I definitely put myself forward for it, and wouldn't change a thing. Spent a lot of money at it, but I had a lot of fun. You know, I feel very proud and privileged that not everybody gets the opportunity to do it that I have. So no, I'm very grateful for everyone along the way. Yeah.
I mean, again, looking at the quality of riders that going back then you were racing against, it is, you know, Votrebek, Czech Republic, you know, and then you've got all the Dutch lads, Herman Elkamer, Menno Verlang, Morris van Kastelen.
Yeah,
It just goes on and on. I mean, it was a quality, wasn't it?
Yeah, no. And the IMBA was like a stepping stone down from the old GPs for the boys that have had enough of Grand Prix. They were coming down, still wanting to earn a bit of money, and so yeah, you used to get quite a lot of fat lads, and I tried my damn hardest to win them IMBAs, but it just never happened. So I think I was runner up once or twice, but yeah, I never won the IMBA, and I am still extremely jealous of anyone who has won an IMBA championship. So, you know, hats off to them. Well done. Yeah.
I mean, along the way, obviously in Europe, you've made lots of friends who are still your friends.
Yeah.
So I found that there's always a great atmosphere, and they wanted to be your friends up until the time when the gate dropped for Moto One, and then for the rest of the weekend they probably wouldn't talk to you. but there's some real nice people involved in it, and like I said, that must be nice as well to know that you can still like have contact, communication with some of those riders you were racing against back then.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, you know, I still have invitations to, you know, people's houses, whether it be Germany, France, Belgium, or Holland. And if we were to go practicing, you know, Honda Park or Lommel, I'm pretty sure I would bump him to somebody that we know. So yeah, it's a very friendly atmosphere in the IMBA. But like I said, when that gate drops, as I've always said, you know, you're there to win races at the end of the day. So we've had a few upsets over there as well, but you know, you take the rough with the smooth and do your best.
When racing in the IMBA, then how did you find the race pace? Was it vastly different to what you were getting in the AMCA Championship, or only a little bit? Or...
Yeah, so your top three guys, or your top couple of guys from the other countries were, you know, maybe at times out of reach, but not everywhere. But until you get in the stand, and then you've got 6, 8, 10 guys that are just gone. You know, you instead of being half a second a lap behind, you 3 or 4 seconds a lap behind, and you know that's just not good enough. So yeah, it's the quality of field in the IMBA was very high.
I mean, obviously, like I said, you made lots of friends racing in Europe. But there's one place where you didn't make any friends in France. I wonder if you could just, I know a little bit about this, but if you could tell people watching the story behind the night at the French, I think they call it Hypercross, Bloodlit Supercross, if you want.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a floodlit. It was a very tame Supercross. It was like motocross on steroids in a very small setting. And you start off at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon with your practice, and you you set up in your different heats, and you do normal 3 or 4 heats, and then you have your semis, your quarterfinals, and your semi-finals, and there's people having a lot of drink all the way through the afternoon, and I was typically there to win, because you get some pretty nice trophies there, if I'm honest. They're pretty tall, you get a bit of money, and I happened to. It was apparent that I wasn't the fastest, unfortunately. So I had to do something about it, and I started winding this French laddie up into the semis, into the final, onto the line in the final, and yeah, I took my opportunity out on track, and I think I don't know, put him into next week, and then I think as he come back on the track, Aaron Crowder come on and jumped on him as well, so that rubbed salt in the wound. I went on to win the night, so I won the final, but yeah, then I got a crowd barrier threw at me before I got back to the van on the bike. They'd ripped me awning down, slashed the tyres on the truck. Yeah, my dad had to act as security as I was hiding in the van, if I'm honest. So my dad had to fight him off. Yeah, you know, I still wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change the thing. I was there to win. My talent ran out, but my passion got me the win. You know, and that's what it was. You know, names on the trophy, and we've still got a nice big trophy in the corner in Mum and Dad's house to tell a story about. So, yeah.
So that was another mad dash then back to Calais. Literally.
I know. I think because we were in France anyway, my dad wanted to go and get some cheap fags, so we had to go into Belgium and then back out.
Oh
So
dear.
so we had to go and get some fags first, and then back home. But you needed to make the money to make the diesel home. So, yeah.
The good times though.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, lots of friends, lots of memories. Yeah, no, I said it. I say it again. I wouldn't change a thing. I'd do it all again. You know, you do it because you've got a passion for it that, you know, that nothing else comes close to. Even with a few years away from it recently, it never goes. You try and convince yourself that you don't miss it and you don't need it. No, I don't need it. No, I don't miss it. You actually ask yourself. You sit down in a quiet room somewhere and you think, well, yeah, there is something missing still. So hence why I've got back into it in the last few years. So.
I know during your motocross career, you also had a little trial, should we call it, at Speedway. I think it was at Stoke, if I'm right.
Yeah. I went down to Stoke. Yeah, no, it was a good day. It was quite a wet day, so it made it relatively easy to get the back end out and to get sliding. I can't think of his name now. I think Wayne Woolridge set it up for me to go down to Stoke. Spent the day there, got offered a ride by the end of the day to join the team the following week. For 400 quid a week and then your prize money on top. But it was good. I enjoyed it. But it wasn't motocross, and it never will be. I've definitely got a passion for motocross, and that's what I still have now. But yeah, I enjoyed it and appreciate the opportunity. But the Speedway wasn't ticking all my boxes, unfortunately.
No, I think you could have made a good go of it personally. There you go.
Yeah.
So after motocross, then the injury, you went to supermoto. How did that opportunity arise after your motocross?
Right.
Day?
So I was at the time I was in Southam Motocross Club, and the lady at the club, very good friend of mine, her husband was team manager of Supermoto team, the biggest one in the UK. They were doing world championships. Silicon, well, it's called Silicon Engineering now, but it was SHR Supermoto back then. Yeah, and you know, Nick was a family friend who was the manager. He said, you know, he knew about the injury that I had, and he said, "Oh, come and have a go." So I did, and then my first race was the Portuguese Grand Prix. It was my first race, so in a deep end for sure.
How did you find it then? Did it feel comfortable? Easy to?
I felt terribly uncomfortable to start with, because you're you're wrapped up in your leather suit like a and then trying to trust the tyres to do what they want to do, and it took a while to get into it. I practiced a bit before the first Grand Prix, but then you're on the grid for that first Grand Prix, and I was at the back because I was absolutely terrible. That was a steep learning curve as well. Alongside the Grand Prix, I did the British Supermoto Neurosport. And again, I was terrible at that for a while, but by the end of that first year, I won a few races in the elite class and a few podiums. It was a good experience.
I guess it must be difficult in Supermoto where you go off the dirt onto the tarmac. That must be the critical sort of point, in effect, where you can easily get it wrong. Or
that's when you're quite a good grip on the tarmac, to be honest, because the tyres were super sticky on the tarmac. When you're dragging the shit off the dirt section back onto the tarmac, it does get pretty precarious. Then when it rains, and that throws another mix into it. But the dirt was where I had to make my time up, to be honest, and get stuck in and try and make a few seconds back from where I was losing it around the track, which I was.
How quickly did you sort of make your progression in Supermoto then?
Oh yeah, so that first round in Portugal Grand Prix, there was a young German kiddie who was giving me some jip for being terrible. But then by the end of the year, I was showing him the way around, top 10s, top 6s. I think the last Grand Prix we did in the European Championship, I was 6th or 8th. I think like down in Cahors in France. So yeah, we got to grips with it and did quite well.
In that Supermoto as well, you rode in a big event in Belgium, which is held annually. Yeah, apparently that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was the event called Mete, and to be honest, I enjoyed that a lot more because it was predominantly dirt, and it was designed for, your Pichon used to come and ride, Tortelli and that lot used to come and ride, and it was, aimed at the old motocross boys to come and have a bit of a go, and it's got a lot of history to it, and it was, really enjoyable. And I think I was top grip for a couple of years, but Winky and that lot still fast. Macklin Stanley and stuff were up there, and another good one. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I think it was 2016 you came back into the AMCA. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the Supermoto team stopped. Yeah. Yeah.
But when you come back, you had an injury again, didn't you? I think it's Pontilas.
Yeah, another knee injury there. Yeah. No, that was it. First, I qualified first, and down into the first race, I got an average start. That was it, and then someone got whiskey throttle and bent my leg around my ear. Yeah. So I think I broke my leg and my ankle, didn't I? Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Yeah. So at that point, you did decide to call it a day, yeah, or did you still want to carry on?
So, yeah, they did a good job. It was quite a relatively straightforward break with my leg and my ankle. So they still got the bar in my leg. They put a bar in my leg and plated my ankle together. And then I rode Long Lane 4 weeks later. I think I won then. I was second or third or something. So, yeah, I hadn't had enough.
No. I didn't think you would.
It was quite important to come back and still sort of have it, if you know what I mean. Still have the speed. That was quite an important day for me, and I did have a little cry to my dad that day. That's quite a memorable day.
I guess that satisfies your own mind as well, to know that it's still there. You didn't want to leave it hanging like that, in fact, and then just sort of walk away.
No, definitely not. Yeah, it kind of sticks out in my mind more than the championship wins, to be honest, because I knew what it took to get back there. Yeah, it was quite a poignant day, and still is now, really. And I just literally turned up in the van, slept in the back of the van on a mattress, had the van. My dad come the next day, mechanic come next day. Yeah, it was a good day. Yeah, some good riders there as well. So no, really important that day.
Okay, so like looking from the outside in, then how do you view the current AMCA Senior Stroke Championship compared to when you were competing? And winning titles.
Yeah, a few things have changed. Like I mentioned before, we just started popping up with the bigger tracks, hadn't we? But now it's up to a superior level, and yeah, hats off to those top boys and the few lads that are still in it from when I did a bit. Yeah, they are definitely shifting. That's for sure. Definitely shifting. But it's hard to say if they're faster or slower or what. They're moving with the times. They're all putting the effort in and doing a great job. It looks brilliant. So no, I'm still proud and passionate to be involved, and yeah, definitely appreciate.
Do you think like the way it's being promoted? I think obviously the profile has gone up like a notch pretty much every single year.
Yeah.
And do you think it's like the profile looks really good of the AMCA Championship?
Yeah, brilliant. Steve and Suzanne and that lot. I know Suzanne's left now at the office, but they do a brilliant job. I was an AMCA director for a couple of years, and I appreciate how hard they have to work to please everybody. So yeah, I can't moan of how they promote it. They do a brilliant job. Everything on social media now, tracks, prep. But what people don't realise is that it still wouldn't happen without the lads in the clubs. It's still the club lads that put the event on. That they still have to get out there and put the track up. So the clubs that actually put them on still need a bit of a pat on the back, and you can say it wouldn't be possible without them. But no, the championship at the minute is unrivaled in my opinion. Full lineups, great riders, no moans about who's riding in it, what they're doing. We've all got to ride somewhere. It doesn't matter if you were a professional last year or the year before, if there's such a thing as a professional. I know the majority of people still go to work, and we go to work to pay for what we enjoy doing. So, in my opinion, they all deserve a spot on the line. It's just that some people can't accept that matey boy's faster than them. So, no, I'm really happy with the AMCA, and like I say, very proud to still be involved.
Okay, you touched on club level racing then, which is obviously the sort of the heartbeat in effect of the AMCA. That's what it all starts from. Do you think the format of current club racing could somehow be adjusted to maybe give riders more bike time during the day? Because you know yourself, you go to a meeting sometimes and you can be arriving at, say, let's just say 7 o'clock in the morning, and you might only get 2 rides and not leave till 6:30. Do you think there's something they could do to maybe adjust the format so that club riders could have more bike time, even if it meant going like down the ATU route and having like a juniors only meeting or something like that, so that they can get more races in?
Yeah, something like I said, there's definitely been a decline in club meetings, hasn't there? And clubs, it is tricky to try and find the solution. I don't think there's an easy answer, to be honest. Especially, the modern day rider. They want that prep track, don't they? They want that AMA Grand Prix looking track, and you can pay 30 quid and go and ride on it all day long. So I think it's always going to be tricky for someone who you'll always have the die-hard fans that go. You'll always have the die-hard fans that go racing. It doesn't matter what they do. But yeah, trying to find an answer for that club level scenario is tricky, and I don't know what the answer is, mate. To be honest, it really is a hard one, and I don't envy the guys at the office to try and please everybody one bit. Definitely not. Yeah. So God knows. I'll let you decide on that one.
Can you see that comment that's just come up from Colin?
I can see what Colin said. Yeah, I used to work with
Yeah.
Colin in Keith Ambridge. Yeah, although Colin does a lot of work now, he says I didn't go to work on a Monday or a Friday because I was at an IMBA. He's the man who takes 3 weeks off work for the dirt bike show and another 2 weeks off for every national he puts on, so he can pipe down.
Okay. This is a nice one as well from a good friend of yours, Mr. Lee Dunham. Good career, Bradley.
Yeah, no, Donge is a good man and a brilliant racer. He's one of the lucky ones that put the effort in and got the rewards of an IMBA shirt or two. So, yeah, no, most definitely the feeling's mutual for Lee and still does well now and got a passion for the sport and makes a good living from it. So, no, yeah, much appreciated.
Okay. Right, let's go on to like the current day. You're back on a bike.
Yeah.
On a Mako.
Yeah.
Which
years old,
back in the 70s and 80s, I think I'm correct in saying that was the bike which just about everybody wanted to ride if they could get their hands on one.
So I'm on one of Bill's Makos. It's an 81 490, and just love riding it. To be honest, they're good fun. They're still got plenty of grunt, plenty of power, and for what I want out of riding, they're brilliant. I don't have to train 6 days a week. I don't have to do hours and hours of prep in the shed. No, I'm really enjoying riding, to be honest. I feel good. I'm healthy, fit, lost a lot of weight. So, no, all good.
Just the Mako handle then, like compared to what you competed on before.
And they've got no brakes for a start. And I did say that to Bill. I said, they've got no brakes. That one's got no brakes. He said, oh, they're all like that. But then when he rode it a couple of weeks ago, he said, oh, that one's got no brakes, is it? And I said, no. I've been riding it all year. They're very forgiving, very soft. But if you want to ride them a bit quicker, then you do need to try and jack them back up a bit and try and get a bit more of a modern sort of feel to it. But no, really nice to ride, and very rewarding when you pass a few lads that are on modern bikes as well. So.
I was going to say the competition at like twin shock meetings, you're generally finding a lot more of the, if you want, the younger riders are like having a dabble on these bikes, you know, the Evo, twin shock and whatever. So that must make it equally as competitive, really, is what you've done before, in a way.
So we went down to Farley for King of the Castle. We had myself, Alex Rack, Lewis Trickett. It was a brilliant weekend, and we were all thrashing around and having a good crack. So you soon find yourself in that scenario of taking risks and doing what it takes to win again. But that's what it's about, isn't it? That's the buzz we chase. And unfortunately, you know, that buzz is addictive, and still getting kicks from it today. So.
Okay. Obviously, you're now based in Cumbria. I should imagine that's pretty good motocross, stroke, scrambling, if you want. Countryside.
Yeah, sunny Cumbria. I'm in this t-shirt every day, obviously. But yeah, no, there's some lovely little tracks up here that aren't overused, and they are hidden gems. I put a few little pictures and videos on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and yeah, lovely places to ride. And you know, they are very natural tracks, and like I say, aren't overused. They aren't thrashed to death, and for the masses, they're, you know, quality little tracks and hidden gems, really. So you know, top secret sort of thing. So no, brilliant place to live. So I've been embraced
Okay,
by everyone here. So
there's another comment here for you that I want you to see. This just come up. What do you think of that one?
Michael would have won the MX1 of him if I would have involvement we have now. Well, yeah, well, maybe. Michael's a great man. He puts a lot of money and a lot of effort into his team, and I can't thank him enough for everything he helped me with. I can just, you know, keep helping him, you know, build the team and help him as much as I can. But no, I've got a lot to thank Michael for, so thank you very much.
Okay, so like, what's the plan sort of moving forward then as regards racing? Are you going to stick to the twin shock, or do you think you might at some point have another dabble in the AMCA, or how do you view it? I know it's difficult, obviously, because of where you're located, to be involved in the AMCA. How do you see it?
Definitely. You know, my main commitment obviously is children and Ellie. You know, we're up here, you know, enjoying life and being happy and having the twin shock, and it's a nice balance, if I'm honest. I do and am toying with the idea of a 125 in the championship again, but I don't think I've got the commitment in me to do it to a level where I'd want to be. That's me being brutally honest now. So, you know, maybe a 125 for some fun. But no, definitely prioritise the twin shock and the Mako, and you know, getting the brand seen and having some fun and enjoying family time. So.
Okay, Brad. I think that's the sort of end of the interview. I want to thank you very much for agreeing to do it. Much appreciated, and I'm sure
I've enjoyed it. Thank you very
everybody's
much.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brad.
No, take care. Thank you very much, Mike. See you later.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So that's the end of tonight's interview. Hopefully, this is going to be several more.